So what is the zen of stone skipping when you're out there?
That's ultimate. That's really what you're after. All promotion leads to, you know, for want of a better term, you know, the zen of stone skipping. The zen of stone skipping might be something like forgetful awe. Right? If you're going to ask a zen question, you're going to get a zen answer, you know.
I mean, I think that's a solid. I mean, it's.
You know, the idea that I know what I mean. What I mean is, you get the awe, right? The stone skipping to me is in the exact same category as watching a fire, watching clouds, looking at the stars or a shooting star, watching a sunset, right? That's the experience. It's the same experience. Unlike some of these things, if you trace all of these phenomena backwards, stone skipping has kind of this point of origin in yourself, right? So you're an agent of your own awe, which I find fascinating, right? I don't think there's anybody who skips rocks who isn't ultimately, repeatedly fascinated by their own good throws. And not in like an ego way, but it's like they create an event and then they get to step back almost objectively and watch essentially fireworks go off. And then rather than like a normal firework or a sunset, you don't have to wait till the next day or the next holiday. You get to launch another one and then step out. That's one aspect of it. Another aspect of it, why I say forgetful? Because for all the thinking I do, and the scientific aspect, and the training, and the memory, right, of everything you've done up to that moment, that goes away. It's part of that objectivity, right? To get divorced of the subjectivity of your involvement in the process requires forgetting. And it's in that moment of release, you know, it's in that moment that you then have an eye that is most appreciative. It's the child's eye, right? And then on top of that, I personally have this belief, and what I find enjoyable and kind of ironic about it is that the enjoyable and ironic. Okay, so it's not just that it provides this dopamine, right? And it's not just that you get in this timeless moment of pure observation and appreciation. It's also that you're going backwards in time. By which I mean, I believe the origin of the appreciation, not to mention the tactile aspect of throwing the rock, and sorry, it's not just that. The tactile aspect of throwing the rock to me is archaic, right? I think, take it or leave it, that there's a very large evolutionary core to the body and mind experience that's going on with stone skipping, right? You're going back to a time when you would hold a rock and evaluate it for its mechanical qualities, right? you know, whether it's tool making or hunting or, you know, even basket weaving, there's a natural logic, a literal logic, like sentential logic, but it's material. It's, I have a problem which is mechanical, that I see this stick bend a certain way, and that bending becomes a kind of component in that can be applied to other more higher orders of thinking. Mm-hmm. And so to me, holding stones, evaluating them, evaluating the water, all of those if-then kinds of thoughts that occur in, you know, with fire, air, water, right, and wood, form the whole basis of how we think in the world. Mm-hmm. And I personally believe that the last component of all this is really the tail end of the Zen here, mm-hmm. is that it's mentally healthy. And not just in the sense that it's a good release or whatever, it's that it provides a biologically assumed nutrient that is at the core of clear thinking, grounded thinking, and just human maturity. The necessity of, it's almost like I'm saying that to grow up right, you have to do stone skipping. Okay? And to be healthy in a world which has kind of detached itself from the material through handheld devices, right? And theater, whatever. All of which is fun. But in terms of rites of passage, right? There's certain learnings that, you know, lessons that have to be learned, I think. And I say stone skipping, but I don't mean it's absolute. I mean by saying that you could find the same thing through 100 other processes, provided they put you where you can see the sky, you can see green, right? You know what the feel of the soil is, or the wood texture, you know, the evaluative process of natural material. You might not need it maybe in an urban environment, but if you have it and something goes haywire, or you have a sudden crisis of some kind, you have a net to fall into, mm-hmm. I think, you know, a sense of confidence in the bigger world. So that's abstract and it's very personal, and by which I mean egocentric. Right?
Yeah, no.
You know,
I think that's a fine way to end it. I think that's perfect. Yeah. I mean, I'll just turn them off. I'll leave the lights on.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Right.